Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day, dogs. This is Isaac here, and welcome back to Isaac Reviews 2022. Recently, I saw Hotel Transylvania Transformania on Amazon Prime Video, and if I can be honest, even though I thought the first three Hotel Transylvania movies were fine, I feel like they should have stopped by the third one since it felt like somewhat of a series finale in my mind. Plus, it was panned by a good amount of audiences who were probably tired of seeing these movies. I mean, I personally thought it was okay, but I didn't see anywhere else for the franchise to go, so maybe it was time to call it quits. But money is a powerful thing, it seems, so Columbia Pictures has made a fourth and final entry in the series that was supposed to come out last year. I mean, it even shared a release spot with another theatrically released animated film at one point, which basically never happens with those sort of releases. But the Delta variant was too powerful for Sony and Columbia's own good, so they gave it to Amazon Prime and didn't bother updating its release date on their website even after it was supposed to come out, causing a Karen to throw a temper tantrum on Twitter because her daughter cried because a movie didn't come out when it was supposed to. Haha, Jonathan, you are disappointing my daughter. Real talk though, not only was the ratioing she got funny as hell, but as a reminder, all of this happened because of Hotel Transylvania. It shouldn't have been a big deal that some kid who was probably 5 or 6 had to wait another 3 months for the funny Dracula movie, and the way that Karen in question over-dramatized the situation to make it seem like her daughter had the same emotional state as if one of her family members had just died was absolutely hilarious. However, I can understand her being upset with Sony for neglecting to update everyone about the new release date, but then again, they were extremely irresponsible when advertising their animated films released to Netflix in 2021, so I guess nobody's innocent here. Well, it seems like I've been giving exposition for quite some time now. Basically, Hotel Transylvania Transformania is the thing, it was released to Amazon Prime Video, and it was crap. Maybe it wasn't as bad as some other instances of unnecessary sequels to franchises way past their prime that end up being completely inferior to what came before them, but yeah, it was awful. So why is it that this entry in the series ended up being so bad in my opinion? Well, one of the main reasons would be with the script, because it's so freaking boring. It's basically just a simple body swap story where you can easily see everything that would happen a mile away, and I knew about 5 or 10 minutes in that Johnny would feel like an outcast, Van Helsing would turn him into something that looks like it should be a boss in Mario Galaxy, the monsters turn into humans, Dracula and Johnny go to South America to break their curse, the other characters follow them, wacky hijinks ensue, Johnny and Dracula have a falling out at some point, but get back together later, everyone turns back to normal after a climax, and Dracula learns the importance of being true to yourself and all that crap. I've mentioned in the past that cliches and tropes aren't inherently a bad thing, and I mean, they can even be good if they're well executed. However, that wasn't the case with Transformania, as not only was the story generic, but it was also boring, and the humor wasn't as strong as before, with maybe a few chuckles here and there, and the message about being yourself is hammered in so thoroughly that it feels like the movie is talking down to its viewers and treating them like their intelligence is equal to Ralph, and Ralph breaks the internet. Not to mention that the pacing here is absolutely horrible, being so rushed that it's hard to be interested in the film when everything's moving at the speed of a newspaper zombie in Plants vs. Zombies 2. But despite the awful writing, the worst part of Transformania would have to be the characters. I mean, sure, the acting was okay, hell, Brian Hull did a good job as Adam Sandler's replacement for Dracula, but the characters here serve one of these purposes. They either have no point in the story aside from unfunny jokes and filler, and removing them wouldn't change anything, as is the case with all the side characters aside from Mavis. They're annoying as hell, as is the case with Johnny, or they're Drac. I don't know what happened in the writer's room, but Dracula in this movie is insufferable. especially during the first 15 to 20 minutes where all he does is just spend his time being a to Johnny and whining about how he's like not some profound individual and instead he just wants to have fun. I mean, I get where he's coming from. Johnny is irritating and all, but I thought Drac was cool with him staying in the hotel by the end of the first movie. Continuity much? It doesn't get much better after he and Johnny get to South America, as all he does is lie, complain, and put his friends in danger as a result of his selfishness. So, as you can tell, Drac didn't get the best treatment in this film in terms of how he was written, and neither did the side characters, but they were at least just boring, while Drac had the same appeal to me as scooping my eyes out with a spoon. Wow, I sure blew off quite a bit of steam during that part, but I suppose I should talk about the stuff that saved this from being complete garbage. First of all, the animation was actually a lot better than I thought it would be. Yes, it is a noticeable downgrade from its predecessors, especially during like the first 15 to 20 minutes where the character movements can be really wooden and choppy, but the animation is mostly pretty solid with a good amount of zany character movements, a nice amount of color, some enjoyable slapstick comedy, and some great landscapes. Also, as I previously mentioned, the acting was good, and as I haven't previously mentioned, there were admittedly a couple of heartfelt moments sprinkled throughout the film, mainly the scene where Drac and Johnny bond at a campfire and talk about how it's important to find the good in things that seem unpleasant, which is a genuinely good message for someone like me who's always had trouble finding something positive in difficult times. So even if the scene was kinda ruined by the insanely forced liar reveal and third act breakup, it was still an overall nice moment. Now that I've talked about everything I wanted to talk about, let's wrap up this review. Hotel Transylvania Transformania was a massive waste of my time and a massive waste of Sony Pictures Animation's creative potential. There were a couple good scenes here and there and the animation was okay, but other than that, the script is painfully predictable, the pacing is terrible, the characters are either pointless or flat out despicable, and the message, while good intentioned, was still insultingly preachy. If you hated the first 3 movies, this for sure isn't for you. If you liked the first 3 movies, stick with them, as while they're flawed, they still have some semblance of effort, whereas this only feels like it was made for profit. And that obviously backfired since it was dumped onto streaming and neglected by the studio that made it, so that just goes to show how utterly pointless this was. And that was my review of Hotel Transylvania Transformania. Wow, that's 2 bad movies I reviewed in a row, and I doubt that it'll be getting better anytime soon, as next time we'll be taking a look at The Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Well, that's all for this episode of Isaac Reviews 2022. Thank you all for watching. Please consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!